Hello, and a very warm welcome to an exciting new episode of Simply Electric. We hope you enjoy the show. Yes, we would absolutely like to take a detailed look at the facelift of the Peugeot E-2008 together with all of you. We introduced it to you many years ago, and now Peugeot has completely revamped it, added new technical features, a different drive variant, a larger battery pack, and of course also some visual changes that aren't all entirely positive, but we will discuss that in more detail. More later. Today we'll show you a classic review with a detailed test drive to present the pros and cons of the Peugeot 2008 of the 2024 generation. I would say check if you are already in the driving mode for this video. Also see if you're part of the Simple Electric community. We would love your support with a subscription so you won't miss the latest videos in the future. Now let's get started with the Peugeot 2008, and as always, we begin from the outside. Start from the beginning. Take a look at the front section of the facelifted E2008. Here you have it, and right below that you will find the new Peugeot logo gleaming. I find it turned out very tastefully with the lion. I'm a Leo by zodiac sign too. And that matches very, very well with the Peugeot here. The color, such a nice metallic blue, kind of reminds us of the Côte d'Azur, doesn't it?
Sure.
Peugeot ditched chrome, darkened everything, modernized it, and finally revealed its impressive and powerful claws right here for all to see. Shifting from a shark-like appearance to a claw-like look in the daytime running lights and incorporating advanced LED technology in the headlights greatly enhances night visibility, ensuring safer driving conditions and aligning with modern safety standards. Yes, there are 3 equipment variants starting at around 39,000 euros, then as active. With the small engine, we have it here as Allure. That's the second trim level. And for those who prefer it even bigger and better, there's also the GT version, which is a bit sportier, a bit more nimble, and a bit more high performance overall. Yes, there are 2 electric motors, 100 kilo, 136 horsepower, or like ours, then for approximately 1,000 euros more with 115 kilowatt, 156 PS. And here in the Allure trim, he also has really nice alloy wheels that are a bit aerodynamically optimized in appearance, in my opinion. And the whole thing then also on 215/60R17 rims. So for those who prefer it in a bigger size, you'll either find a suitable solution in the aftermarket or perhaps in the GT line offerings. Yes, most of the chrome is gone now. Everything is kind of a shiny black color, even all around the window frames here. Only down here it's a bit grey along the plastic, but I have to say it suits it well. It's a compact electric CUV SUV, which depends on the viewer's perspective. Some might really appreciate the unique design, while others might find it less appealing. Yes, when we finally get to the rear section, the changes Peugeot makes are always small but fine, and I think they've done a very, very good job on this particular model. The whole car looks even fresher, even more modern, and especially with the LED taillights, I think it has a certain performance. We have here a nice rear spoiler, installed with the third brake light in it. And down here we have a nice, thick, sturdy plastic bumper. That's particularly important when driving in an urban environment. And in France, where the Peugeot originally comes from, there's often some pushing and shoving and even a bit of scratching involved.
Yes, it is better if it is not painted.
There are manufacturers who move forward with us. By forward, I mean without the shark fin, with technology integrated into the windows, the side mirrors and the bodywork. At Peugeot, they're going in the opposite direction, a full 180 degrees. I don't know if they want to annoy us or if they just think this shark fin antenna at the back is cool. Here in glossy black, because I'll show you the pre-facelift model, how it compares to the new version and highlight key differences. And I don't get it, Peugeot, it's possible without it. This is the E2008. Pre-facelift Stefan without a shark fin. The technology is integrated into the mirrors, into the side mirrors. A nice clear line. And with the new model, with the shark fin, yeah, what has changed? We'll show it to you again right here with the pre-facelift model. Here we have it once more in a beautiful, well, orange, bronze, gold metallic. Depending on how the sun shines on it, it looks, or copper colored, you could also say. Nice pearl effect here, but as you can see, no LED headlights. We've got halogen lights and the old Peugeot logo up front. Up here then the 2008. So I have to say, I personally think that the Peugeot has become significantly much more stylish and attractive in the year 2024 compared to how it used to look before. And I'm genuinely just really excited about the facelift. Here we have the black variant for direct comparison, where we again have this really nice shark-like design that stands out quite prominently. I have to say, that looks a bit more futuristic, right? What do you think, Stefan?
Yes, Definitely good progress.
But seriously, how on earth can you build a car without a shark fin? And now with all these new model variants, you can simply pan over here. There is indeed a shark fin on top. So do you understand that? Nah,
Now, unexplainable.
an actual scandal. Now then, let's talk a bit about the length. We're specifically talking about a compact 4.30 meters in total. He stands at 1.52 meters tall, the wheelbase measures exactly 2.56 meters, and the total width is 1.77 meters. That means with the side mirrors included, we are under 2 meters in total width. Yes, we got a new battery pack with the facelift, which is now hidden here between the wheelbase, cleverly integrated with 50.8 kilowatt hours net usable and 54 kilowatt hours total capacity for this advanced battery pack. I think that's absolutely great. We have an unladen weight of a good 1.6 tons. So in my opinion, it's still a decent and reasonable weight to size ratio. We can charge with 3-phase AC power using the Type 2 connector at 11 kilowatts and optionally with DC power as well. Then at the appropriate fast charging station, up to 100 kilowatts at peak, so that we can then charge the battery pack from 10 to 80% in about 28 to 30 minutes. We have already demonstrated that to you. I specifically refer here to the video with the Opel Astra Electric, for example, which has the exact same battery pack and the same type of electric motor installed. He belongs to the Stellantis group like Peugeot. Under the front hood, we find Peugeot used the same battery pack and motor as the Opel Astra Electric. Apparently doesn't watch our videos intensely, right?
No range hoods here.
The hood vents we recommended are missing. Nice insulation, and here we have the new electric unit. So far it had 100 kilowatts, 136 horsepower and 260 newton meters of torque, and now we have essentially 115 kilowatts, 156 horsepower, also 260 newton meters of torque, and therefore just a little bit more punch, more power. Let's see if that difference truly becomes noticeable when we take it out for a proper test drive, shall we? What stands out to me here is the missing frunk. So there's still a bit of space. You could have integrated a really nice compartment here just to store the Type 2 charging cable during the winter months. Why is that maybe interesting? Because when we then look into the luggage volume, we might not have the right storage option on the one hand. And on the other hand, it's just winter with bad weather when it rains, snows. The cable gets wet and dirty pretty quickly. So it's really not nice at all to bring that into the interior. There's like a bowl right here that's always super practical in combination with range hoods. I think it's a great idea. Yes, Stefan, shall we hear what it sounds like in France?
3, 2, 1, and let's go for it, everyone.
Bag. For you, the rear trunk is likely more important than the frank at the front, as it offers ample space for various belongings. Yes, unfortunately, it's still not electric. It's really a pity, as there are already quite a few cars this size. For example, the Aura 03, which also opens the trunk electrically for us, right? Yes, to be completely honest with you, we're looking at a very generous 405 liters of trunk space here. You can see they've placed the Type 2 charging cable here, blocking part of the trunk. This could be inconvenient if you need all the trunk space for large items or luggage. Yes, let's take out the bristly cable. It would have fit much better in the front trunk if there was one. And then we see this really nice double loading floor here. Stefan, look, there's just this small compartment here, and then you still have to fumble the cable underneath, which is of course not very nice or convenient at all. Yes, you can place it down here to add more volume just like it was before. Please look. Or you can, which I also criticized on the Renault Scenic, it unfortunately doesn't come with a double loading floor, which is a downside. Or nicely aligned up here, freeing up some extra space potentially for more storage and versatility. We'll definitely test it out by placing the cable in the lower level, but when we also have the shopping baskets in here and everything else we need, etc. It doesn't even close properly from the top, you know? Yeah, so how do you get to the cable? Do you take the groceries out first?
Unplug the cable, right? Put the groceries back in.
It surprises me that people criticize us for insisting on the frunk or mentioning it when it's missing, as we see it as a practical feature offering significant convenience. We're doing this for your sake, so that it's easy for you, right? So we're not doing this now for personal satisfaction because we're somehow fanatical Frank lovers. But our goal is to show you the car in the best possible way. Yes, a nice parcel shelf, very sturdy, I like it a lot. Let's put these carefully aside for now. Yes, you see, Stefan, this really doesn't fit here, does it?
No, it keeps popping up like that, you know?
Oh, and Peugeot, you usually have such consistently good quality. Why couldn't you manage to put a carpet or felt here, huh? Well,
That would be nice too.
because it scratches quite easily if something with sharp edges comes into contact with it. Here, by the way, too, I find it a bit of a shame. Maybe just once down here with anodized aluminum so that you can access the loading edge right here. But Stefan, please take a look. I find the loading height great, don't you?
Okay, yeah, that fits.
Well, that is really a great story. Yes, for those who find 405 liters not enough, it allows you to fold down 60% of the driver's side and 40% of the passenger's side, making it easy to create additional storage space whenever you need it. Overall, and for a size of 4.3 meters, that's quite a considerable volume with over 1,400 liters of cargo space.
That's a lot. Plenty fits.
Let me guess.
What? Opens manually, also closes manually.
Somewhat a pity, it would already be in the Peugeot, an electric tailgate, right?
Just press the little button.
Would be nice. For those who find the car's storage insufficient, there's always the option to mount a roof rack onto the roof rails for additional storage space. Well, with a roof load of up to 80 kilograms. Yes, concerning the trailer hitch, there are quite a few different options available that make me a bit uncertain and indecisive. Is there one, is there none? Because the internet spits out many versions, making it unclear. So I went to the Peugeot dealer here once more and inquired again. I was informed that officially there is no tow hitch available, no recognized towing capacity, and apparently no specified nose weight either. That's likely quite different from the Peugeot E-3008. Which at the very least has a hitch where you can certainly mount a bike carrier. There are apparently now aftermarket solutions available where you can retrofit a tow hitch to get a tongue weight of 60 kilograms to mount. Apparently there's a valid ABE certification for it too, I've been told so. I can't judge it accurately yet. I don't want to misinform you either. So if you are interested in a tow bar or if it's crucial, please get the details from your Peugeot dealer, etc. Well, we can only really pass on this limited amount of half knowledge that we have from the internet and from the Peugeot dealer. Outside, we showed you everything there was to see. Now let's look inside the building. We have single glazing installed here. But that's usually the case for vehicles of this particular size and category. For the time being, I haven't been able to find any optional double glazing available for this model. Yes, we have hard plastic on the door panel here without any padding, which might be uncomfortable for some. The only positive thing is that it has a bit of a textured look. Then we have this carbon fiber structure look here. I have to say it looks chic, doesn't it? Here it's a bit glossy black, again with such a grain. So Peugeot really put in some effort. Here, we don't have any kind of covering at all, like artificial leather or even rubber. Here's an artificial leather cover which is also softly padded with a neat and well-crafted seam. We have the window controls, we have the mirror adjustment, and then we have an armada of the hardest plastic here. I have to say, although it looks valuable due to the grain, but plastic is still just plastic. Yes, down here we have no carpet and definitely no felt. You hear rustling and clattering here, but you might be able to come up with a small solution yourself at the hardware store. Although I must say, let's not forget one thing, electric cars have their price. The car here starts at 39 grand.
Euros. That's a lot.
And thereby also somehow about 13,000, 14,000 euros more expensive than the supposed combustion engine. From that viewpoint, I think it's reasonable to expect some quality, right? For such a clear value price.
One would think so, yeah.
Welcome to the dashboard, the Peugeot E-2008. What I really like is that this information display is positioned quite high up, making it convenient because it's in the driver's line of sight and easy to glance at while driving. In my opinion, you don't miss a head-up display, as it would be redundant given the already well-positioned information display. Yes, this carbon structure extends all the way across the entire length of the dashboard right here. Gotta say, this carbon look is really quite sleek, and this flat steering wheel also looks very sleek. By the way, you can also adjust both the height and the distance of the steering wheel, but depending on your height, you may need to move it quite far down, and this can somewhat restrict your legroom and make it a little uncomfortable. To avoid inadvertently obstructing the driver's clear and unobstructed view of the infotainment display, I find it somewhat suboptimal. Compared to the E-3008, which we've already shown you, it's essentially one size up. The 24-inch curved display variant looks a bit more stylish to me, yes.
Looked good before.
Back to the multifunction steering wheel, haptic buttons, rotary controls, indicators, wiper, all chic. Start-stop button, in my opinion, is unnecessary. If you press the brake, the car starts. If you lock it with the remote, the car unlocks. So why have this useless button that one constantly forgets when getting out? Yeah. Yes, nice information display, 21:9, slightly curved towards the driver. Everything's driver-oriented. We know this from BMW. Ask me why this element wasn't curved too, like the E-3008, but what we have here is a really nice small armada of various switches and handy buttons, which is quite impressive. The seat heating along with a manual dial that controls the volume and another set of basic adjustment functions. Yeah, the navigation system, I have to say, responds kind of semi-smoothly, if we're being honest. It could be faster and more accurate. There are other manufacturers who I believe can do that significantly faster with a certain processing power. It's just a question of whether in this vehicle class that's such a decisive factor. For me, the home button is always absolutely crucial to get to the main menu. And even more crucially important for me is the fact that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are fully and seamlessly integrated into the infotainment system. Because then we can just use Google Maps, which usually works pretty smoothly if the phone actually decides to cooperate with us, right? But Google doesn't seem to really like that method with touch. They still have this weird zooming in and out mechanism that feels awkward. I think so too.
Das muss auch irgendwann dringend mal geändert werden.
I absolutely think so too. Yes, we have a nice compartment down here. There's an inductive charging surface hidden here that works perfectly now, making it really easy to charge your devices. Okay, where even a large smartphone fits. We have USB-C on the left, USB-C on the right. And they made this cover really nicely to hide everything because, you know, sometimes I caught myself too. You leave your phone in the car. And that's often a reason in some big cities to break into a car because there's a smartphone worth $1,500, $1,800 inside. Well, you simply can't help those kinds of people. Yeah, the key is so simple yet entirely functional in its design. Here's a nice compartment, a bit ribbed. I would have preferred soft plastic instead of hard plastic. Wanted because then it doesn't rustle and clatter.
Or a rubber insert or something like that.
Right? Then we have 12 volts. Everything here has a piano finish. We'll have to see how long it stays scratch and touch free because there's already a little dust, a few fingerprints. That's exactly where the throttle control is, with that additional B button conveniently available. Starting from E-3008, they are unavailable, but here we have a carbon look. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
This isn't carbon.
Yes, two cup holders, deep and shallow. Why they differ in height is probably only known to Peugeot. Electric parking brake, drive mode switch for eco, normal and sport options. Here we have a small compartment for storing odds and ends, very convenient for keeping small items organized. Like our Draggy, because we want to test everything via GPS. Here's a little coin compartment again. By the way, this is softer rubber, so it doesn't rustle or rattle. That's good. That's great. But also the center armrest, instead of just lining it with a bit of felt. Well, this is really delivery van plastic. Seriously, Peugeot, this is nicely done here again with faux leather and a stitch. I mean, look, you can also adjust this to improve the ergonomics. Well, I have to say I'm a fan of that concept. Why leave out some felt here and a carpet there when including them enhances comfort and looks?
I'll try to figure out a way to find some kind of mutual agreement on a specific line somewhere.
But then he'd prefer 39.1 to 39K and you have, yeah.
And then you have a piece of carpet, a bit of rubber here and there. Can't be that hard.
I can see the outrage in the comments. How can OLLI charge an extra €100 for no rustling and no clattering in an electric?
None of them really seem to have any particular...
Yes, sorry about that. Then let it rather rustle and let it rather rattle. And of course, I never intended, I want to distance myself from this statement. To take €100 for an expensive electric car that doesn't rattle or clatter. So feel free to write in the comments whether you're part of the €100 rustle clatter faction, or if you say, meh, I don't care, I'd rather save $100 and let it rustle and let it clatter. Yes, back to the car. We have the Allure trim here, which I also find has a nice pattern, here made of fabric and faux leather. With a nice seam, we have solid lumbar support, offering both comfort and stability. Also adequate support in the thigh area. Yeah, shoulder pads, not really. And there's a headrest that adjusts in height, but not in terms of comfort or distance, which could be seen as a potential drawback. If you want something a bit sportier, you go for the GT variant, right? But then, of course, with a corresponding extra cost. What makes Peugeot chic is the black headliner. I think it's modern, it's good, and it helps focus and view from the car. I think that such bright interiors do create more space and provide more light, but you lose focus on the essential, namely your surroundings. What do you think, Stefan?
Well, before daydreaming, you should really focus on the road ahead instead.
Exactly, and that's why we might not miss, or we might actually end up really missing having a glass roof or a glass sunroof, right? Yes, which hopefully would be optional. Yes. Unfortunately, we also don't have a glove compartment here with somehow lined with felt and carpet, but that wasn't enough at 39K, or rather, our test subject here is at 44K. I find that kind of a shame.
Well, one could have certainly done that.
I mean, out here the plastic has a nice grain again, decent floor mats, and then we have this hardcore plastic entry which scratches easily, especially on the cobblestones. If you're driving alone, it can rattle and clatter sometimes, but like I said, you guys always tell me that I should stick to smaller and more compact electric cars. Sometimes we tend to hold back a little. Probably I really need to accept that now, or if the community wishes so, or at some point, no. We stick to our system where we constructively and critically ensure that you get high quality materials, that you get great interiors where nothing rustles or rattles, and then we don't get influenced by people who say they don't need any of that and that it doesn't matter. We will simply stay true to our electric path and our line, right, Stefan? Stefan wants to make an appeal and establish something. What did you want to establish?
The rustle and the rattle faction, indeed.
Oh, great. Yes, let's get back to the essentials. I'm 1 meter 85 tall, a delicate 99.9 kilos, and as always, I'm trying to get into the backseat of every electric car with you guys to simply demonstrate the available space to all of you clearly.
Oh, sulking again?
No, not at all. But I just think it's a shame that there are still 2024 cars in such a compact segment. For the roundabout at 40,000 without a center armrest? Yes, not really, due to some ergonomics. And I mean, we're heading into a time where cars might become a bit smaller, a bit more compact in urban areas, but still retain usability. Also, for trips and longer distances, an armrest would be worth its weight in gold in terms of ergonomics here.
Yes.
Yes, I find the legroom to be okay for the vehicle size. We've even got plenty of space. I have a nice seating position when you raise the headrest. Doesn't sit behind your neck, which is nice, that you can lower it down to enjoy an unobstructed view to the back, even though our test subject has a panoramic camera system. But still, having a good all-around view is always important. What I really like is that everything back here is nicely covered with fabric. A pocket might be nice, maybe a small cell phone pocket right here. But what I miss back here, and I know some will say it doesn't fit the vehicle size, but I still need them, are ventilation nozzles. You can certainly expect that for over 40,000. There's both USB-C and USB-A ports, and here's a drive shaft tunnel since the 2008 model is on a mixed platform, which is quite interesting. Here is probably the battery pack integrated. And yes, that's typically nice and flat with most modern electric cars, as you would expect. Yes, I think 2 adults can sit here on a short trip, and 2 children definitely. There are ISOFIX attachments on both sides, but sadly with a zip. Wouldn't it be nicer if you could just fold up the cushion, or has this removable plastic cover, making it much easier to insert and remove the child's seat, offering added convenience and a smoother experience. Yeah, the only drawback is the hard plastic, which could rattle or make noise, becoming bothersome on long drives or rough roads. And it also has value. Leaning with your shoulder here really shows its sturdiness and overall build quality, which feels quite reassuring. Well, like I said, you can judge that. It's not really a must-have, but I kind of would have wished for that. Yeah.
A bit fancier.
What's great is, like a Cub or SUV, we have nice headroom since we don't have that coupe-ish roofline here, which is awesome. Actually, such an E-2008 is no longer a classic second car. I think for many people in an urban environment, it really is a great daily driver. Outside, we've shown you everything. Inside, we've shown you everything. I'd say let's move on to the big driving report. Let's embark on an exciting journey with the Peugeot E-2008. We set off with the Peugeot E-2008. And I must genuinely admit it's actually somewhat stiffer than I initially expected, right? Yes.
There's some hardness on the road. It's not as Peugeot smooth as we're used to with the latest vehicles.
Right, we're kind of spoiled by the E-3008 and E-3008 models because they have this really nice, smooth Peugeot suspension system, where you don't get hard jolts, and that's where the E-2008 is a bit rougher.
He's being a bit more aggressive there.
I almost want to. So you really start to feel every manhole cover, you know? Yeah.
Yes, okay.
A highlight here in the Allure trim is the simply straightforward cruise control. Right, Stefan? Yes.
From an Opel.
Yes, Stefan likes driving the Opel Combo e-Cargo. You can access all its practical features and options, making it a versatile and dependable choice. adjusting the speed here. It's actually not as easy as it might seem at first. You have to get the hang of it a little bit. Now it's active again. Where can I can reduce the speed downward. I can increase it upwards, but you have to be careful because we just have a basic cruise control system here. Not driven this in a while.
Right, so if you set it to 100, you're basically rolling the truck in from the back. Because he lacks spacing rules, right?
Exactly, but I think for most people it's enough to set a speed on the highway, like 130 kilometers per hour, and control lane changes or the maneuvers to brake or accelerate yourself. This offers a good balance between automation and driver control, making long journeys more manageable and comfortable.
Ja, reicht schon.
If you want more comfort, you'll definitely get a distance control in the GT version, right?
Richtig.
I've been wondering why the multifunction steering wheel is used solely for the purpose of the infotainment control system here. So, using voice control, adjusting menu settings here, and managing the phone system directly from here. But it's logical, if he doesn't have distance control on the steering wheel, then he has this gurgle here. Exactly. We want to measure the interior noise with you at 50 kilometers per hour. 56, 57 decibels, that's nice and quiet, I like that. We're accelerating to 70. 60, 61 decibels, we accelerate to 100 kilometers per hour and check how it is at 100. Yeah, 64 decibels, so it's pretty well insulated. So if you compare that to the VW ID.3, it has at 50 kilometers per hour around 60 decibels, and at 100 even mid-70s. So the Peugeot is truly very well made and very well insulated. Many of you use the E-2008 in a typical urban environment, and agility is indeed one of the essential topics. Yes, to support this, we have, in my opinion, a reasonably high-resolution rear-view camera. This means we can nicely park in reverse here. Have the guidelines, they have spacing, lines for orientation, and of course they also have ultrasonic sensors that then make themselves noticeable accordingly. Otherwise, we can look ahead with the panoramic camera to get a clearer and broader view. I think it's super practical because when we drive out of a narrow driveway with a 180-degree view, you can see if there are cyclists or pedestrians coming. This offers great orientation, and in this way, you have the opportunity to correspondingly orient yourself among the different systems, accordingly back and forth. Yes, the turning circle here is a considerable 10.5 meters. I think we can even take a look at it here, right, Stefan?
Sure, we should manage that.
We'll show you just how tight 10.5 meters really are by driving around Stefan with the E-2008, demonstrating its remarkable agility and precision on this small course. Gotta say, it's neat, right?
Yes, so neat.
I think it works quite well for those who are willing to trudge through big city life, tackling its challenges daily. There you can easily make quick and efficient left and right turns.
Yeah, for a no-name product, we didn't find a recognizable brand manufacturer. It's pretty okay.
Fun with the sound system, right? Yeah. So it's not mind-blowing, but it really doesn't sound bad either. So I think for everyday use, it's a nice sound system where you can be entertained well, even listen to a good podcast sometimes. I think it fits quite well enough.
I think so too.
I switched it over to sports mode.
Alright, let's go and do 0 to 100.
115 kilowatt, 156 HP, 260 Newton meters. It's slightly uphill. That's always the advantage of our test track. That makes it really tough for the manufacturers. Factory spec is 9,1 seconds. The draggy is reset. Please begin the countdown, Stefan. 3,
2, 1, let's go.
Pins us to the seats. 30, 50, 7R, suckers 70, Sali, 90, 100. And now we do the brake test. We're going full throttle here. Let's see how the brakes handle this speed. The anticipation is thrilling. And I have to say, holy moly, those are some serious brakes. Yeah. Let's take a look at the Draghi. We went from 0 to 100 in 11.4 seconds. We always generously deduct 2 seconds here, so it should meet the factory specification. 0 to 50 in 4,41 Sekunden, 0 to 60 in 5,28 Sekunden. I think those are solid numbers because those who buy a car of this size and performance probably don't expect a supercar, do they?
Yeah, and you rarely see them, I think, at a quarter-mile race. Is that therefore really okay with you?
So I think you have a car here that you can cruise with excellently. Unfortunately, not with the smoothness of the E-3008. You have to be fair and mention that, but it also costs a lot more. And it is also a good 20 centimeters taller. So in terms of comfort, you might have to make a few compromises here. But otherwise, I think in an urban environment, you have a great daily driver, right?
I think so too. You can stroll through the city and sit.
And with the net 50.8 kilowatt hours, you should realistically, I think, get around 220 kilometers of range in the summer. So you can also take a nice trip with it. And otherwise, you charge it from 10 to 80% in about 28-30 minutes at the CCS with 100 kilowatts at peak. That's a decent reload speed, allowing you to quickly get back on the road. Another 150 to 180 kilometers, right?
Ja.
The question is, of course, Stefan, would you consider an E-2008? Also with a second battery pack, so somehow, I don't know, 70, 80 kilowatt hours, what do you think? Well,
I think it would be cool if at least the option is available. Because some people find that enough, they don't want more, as they might just be driving a clunker. But for those who might want to drive longer distances, for instance, like from Mecklenburg, Maine to Saxony-Anhalt to visit their relatives, for them, it would make sense, like 75, 77 kilowatt hours.
And we can clearly see that Peugeot can handle big batteries in the E-3008 with 73 kilowatt hours net and even an impressive 98 kilowatt hours net in the fall. So in that sense, Peugeot as a French automobile dealer on a Stellantis basis now offers a good and diverse potpourri with its various cars options.
Absolutely.
Once again, I've engaged the cruise control without lane keeping assist, without steering assist, just manual cruising with speed hold activated to discuss the travel comfort with Stefan and Stefan's seat of the pants feel. What does he say?
Well, I have to say, the seats are okay, they're comfortable, you can definitely sit on them. Yes, as we mentioned earlier, it's a bit tougher, not as smooth as the other Peugeots we've had. So honestly speaking, he doesn't really have any noteworthy stance movements, if you don't remember it now. Yeah. Okay, he has swaying, so exclusion criteria.
That's more of an application issue because you can get any car to wobble. Please don't try this at home. Of course, I made absolutely sure there's no traffic or pedestrians here that we could possibly endanger or influence in any way. It's also about giving you an overview, and I think the ride comfort is really appropriate for the size. I think that's completely sufficient for many people. It also defines the scale of such a car, and you get along well with it in everyday life, right?
I think so too. Especially with the small turning circle here at 10.5 meters, it's ideal for the city.
So let's move to the conclusion on the Peugeot E-2008. I find the update quite impressive with several notable enhancements. Except for the shark fin antenna, I've given you my detailed opinion. But visually very impressive. LED headlights, a few technical refinements. Apple CarPlay wireless. In my opinion, this car already comes with just about everything you could possibly need for a vehicle of this size. Yes, a trailer hitch might have been a nice thing for many to transport some garden waste or small items. Or even slightly bigger things, of course. So there's room for improvement. Yes, starting price then in the active trim from 39 grand with 100 key doblado, 136 HP and probably the smaller battery pack. So you have 50 kilowatt hours gross and I think 47 kilowatt hours net usable. That's definitely a good chunk of energy.
Auf jeden Fall, ja.
When you put it into perspective, with a reported leasing rate starting at 2.89 euros, it's definitely significantly more expensive than many Asian competitors. To be honest, there are quite a few decent leasing offers under 200 euros, making it an attractive option for those looking for affordable solutions. And honestly, I really wish Peugeot could bridge this noticeable and significant gap between combustion engines and electric mobility. There's easily like 13,000 in between, it feels like, because I just can't explain what makes such an electric car so expensive despite all respect for battery prices and such. Battery prices have also felt like they've halved by now. Still so much more expensive though, right?
Yes, at some point you can't explain it nicely anymore.
In the past, the BAFA subsidies somewhat compensated with nearly 10,000 euros in financial support. It's been 8 months now, so I strongly believe that car manufacturers should definitely start considering offering their cars at much more attractive and competitive prices, don't you think?
If the possibility exists, definitely.
Because for all those who might have the possibility to charge at home, the E-2008 is, I believe, perfect for the urban environment, isn't it?
Absolut, ja.
And even for those who stand by the lantern, sure, they might have to, every few days maybe. But I think you can drive such a car in a city with 12 to 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is reasonable for electric vehicles and good for city driving.
Ja.
Then, over land, the faster the speed, the higher the consumption will naturally be. But this way, you'd likely reach an urban range in summer of up to around 400 kilometers, assuming ideal conditions.
Ja, okay. Denke ich auch, ja.
That means at 35 kilometers daily, you can manage about 11 days without recharging, right?
Oh.
Then with the fast charger, it takes 30 minutes to fill it up again or around 3 to 4 hours on AC to fully top it off to maximum capacity. This could be an interesting option for those who park outside.
Right? You really should check it out, yeah.
And that's precisely why we can only recommend that you visit the Peugeot dealer of your choice. Gladly head to the Peugeot dealership, which has branches in the Northeast and great service, and what has once again provided this participant for us today, for which we are very grateful. Yes, we are at the end of the video. I hope you liked it. Give it a thumbs up. Please double check if you are part of the Easy Electric community. If not, support us with a subscription, and you'll always receive the latest updates. The latest videos around electromobility. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy and see you soon. Yours, Olli. Hey, Stefan, how is it possible to not have a half fish fin before the facelift and then put that thing back on after the facelift?
I can't wrap my head around it either. How can you take a step back when you already had the perfect solution?